All right, and we're live. Thank you so much for joining, Justin. Really great to have you here.
Hey, it's great to be here. We just had this big release last week, and like finally getting a chance to kind of like relax a little bit and get out there and talk about it.
Awesome. Yeah, the Realtime API is really exciting, and both the model and like the APIs behind it. So it's really cool to have you on the stream to show us how to build awesome apps with it. All right, so I think people will be joining as we go, and I'd love to encourage folks to ask questions. That makes it much more fun. But I guess we could start in a bunch of different directions. I was just looking at the real-time docs on your guys' website, and like there are like multiple methods to do stuff. Like we could start there, and you can like kind of talk us through like the different options. We could work through the demo you made on Valtown, and like you can show us like how that's set up. What do you think is the best intro 101 crash course?
Yeah, the Hello Real Time might be a good way of jumping in. It's been cool to see, people sort of take that and remix it and everything. But I think that's got most of like the cool stuff in there of like it supports both the WebRTC, mechanism and the new SIP mechanism that we added. It also shows how to connect to and run tools and stuff from the server. And then lastly, like it also shows like the use of like the new GA API spec, which is different than the previous real-time API beta spec.
All right, sweet. So I guess maybe you share your screen and kind of poke us through it, or if that works.
Yeah, let's do that. Let me go open up the Val now and
I think
get
just
that.
from a logistical perspective, if you have a new window and you could share that window, that could be a good way to do it.
Okay, let me try that. Let me just get a bunch of
right.
Vals to get the right one here.
And while you're doing that, I'll say hi to our friends from in the audience. Brittany, hello, and Todd from Pixie Bricks. Thanks for joining. You guys are awesome.
All right, I go ahead and share this below. Where's the share rates here? All right, and share screen with two monitors. What do you think about that, Steve? Should I share on a second monitor?
That works perfect.
Looking away. Okay, yeah. Put down the other one.
Our friend Yi Ding is here. Hello. Justin, you probably recognize his name from Twitter. He's been making some awesome remixes. Maybe if you could zoom in and maybe make it a little bit wider if you can, and zoom in a little bit more.
Yeah, I have a vertical monitor, so I can't really make it any wider. But
maybe shorter could help too, from an aspect ratio perspective.
Yeah.
Yes, that looks good. Yes. And then, yeah, I think if anyone has problems with the font, let us know. But I think that looks good. Nice. People are joining. Hello, hello. Thanks for saying hi. All right, great. So why don't we walk through the code, the architecture?
Yeah. So there's a nice README, and Steve helped with this. That sort of explains a lot of the logic here. I won't spend time going through every aspect of this, but I think if you look at the project structure, you can kind of see like the key points that are relevant to know where to start. And I think if you just want to have a WebRTC based interaction with the Realtime API, you can basically start with the RTC TS file. We'll go peek at that first. And then you can look at the index HTML, which is the actual JS code that runs within the browser. There's these other things for doing the server-side control and the SIP, and we'll come back to that later. But let's go dive into the RTC TS, and that'll sort of explain like how does this whole thing work? How do we actually have the browser interact with the Realtime API via WebRTC?
All right.
Let's go crack that open. One quick detour before we do that. Let's talk about the main entry point here. This is what actually gets served from Valtown, and just a couple things to note. Largely like this basically just sets up our different routes for like, okay, the RTC endpoint handles like the RTC stuff, the SIP one handles SIP one, like that stuff is pretty straightforward. But the use of Hano is actually quite nice just for like as a router. And then sort of lets us have this nice separation of concerns and like spread our logic into different files and everything. And so that's a nice way to kind of organize your application. And Steve added this sort of thing of like a source URL that allows you to bring up the actual the IDE here. So anyway, this is just if you're starting, like a nice way to kind of get yourself in place. And with that said, we can go dive into the RTC TS. So the thing to think about of like how does the application interact with the real-time API over WebRTC is that there's two parts. The one is what we call the signaling plane. And this is how the application basically sends some parameters over HTTP to basically tell the real-time API how I'm going to configure the session, like what voice do I want to use, what prompt do I want to use, and also things like, from a WebRTC perspective is like, what key should we negotiate, what codec should we use, these sorts of things. So there's an HTTP request, there's a post. This kicks the whole sort of party off. And then the response to that post contains some additional WebRTC information that gets passed to the WebRTC connection object. And then having exchanged this information with the server, the client and server can then pull up their WebRTC connection, get it secured, get the codecs kind of aligned, all on the side. And so that's the key thing to remember is like there's always this two-part thing where you do like a HTTP request first, and then you do like the WebRTC dance to get the WebRTC connection established. Now, what we're going to do here in this Hello Real-Time example is that we serve the application from the root. You go to like, hello realtime.val.run. That's the endpoint that basically serves the JS application. That JS application will then make the post request that I just mentioned to the RTC endpoint on the application. Now, this is like, like you can have applications that are entirely contained within HTML and JS, and they reach out to the server, like the API server at OpenAI. A lot of things we could talk about there, but like that's not really what you do in production. Like in production, you'll have your application server that basically serves your front end, and then also will sort of be as a like intercedent, like that is in between you and the OpenAI API for one very important reason of like, or two very important reasons, like I say, is one is like it allows you to keep your logic about your prompts and your tools and everything like that on your application server and out of the JavaScript. And secondly, then probably the most important thing is that like your API key for OpenAI, it allows you to securely sort of keep that on your server and not have the client have to touch that at all. We also have a mechanism within the real-time API to do ephemeral keys where the client can connect using like a one-time key that was minted just for the browser. There's documentation on that, like that can be very useful, but like the architecture that I think most people will find to be the easiest to take to production is very similar to what we have here. And just to refresh, we'll serve the JavaScript and HTML web page to the client. The client will then make a post request to our application server, that's the RTC endpoint. And then when the RTC endpoint gets hit, our application server will then make a request to the OpenAI API and then exchange these information pieces and then pass the information then back to the client so the client can make its WebRTC connection directly to OpenAI. So that's the kind of like the big picture. And then now we can get into exactly how that works. And so before I go on, Steve, anything I should also make sure I touch on?
That sounds great. And maybe I'll just try and repeat it back to you to make sure I'm following. I feel like the thing that I wasn't sure about is that we have the front end makes a request to the Valtime, like the API server. Then the API server talks to OpenAI, who replies with WebRTC information back to the API server. The API
That's
server
right.
returns that WebRTC information to the front end, and then the client front end makes a WebRTC connection directly to OpenAI.
Exactly.
And then
Exactly.
I think there's maybe some WebSocket thing happening in Observer that like complicates the story that we should get that I think maybe confused me when I was reading through this code. but maybe now's not the time to go into that.
Yeah, well, let me see. Hold on one second. Like, I might have a resource I can bring up to kind of treat this all visually.
Cool.
And let me just see if I have something that.
Yeah, a whiteboard diagram would help, or an architecture diagram. I'm sure.
Yeah, I feel like I find myself using a lot of words. Like, I think to myself, oh, okay, it would be nice if I could just kind of show instead of tell. Um, Let me see. Oh, here, this should work. One second. That's kind of generic.
He is also confused about what Observer does. I'm glad I'm in good company. And another thing we could do that could make it fun is to like do a demo, like actually use it, maybe tweak the prompt, do another demo, just so everyone can kind of see what we're talking about before we get into the code. You know, it's a sick demo.
Oh, yeah, that's probably a good idea. Yeah, I mean, like, the other thing, like, I just do some whiteboarding. I think that would be like probably the best thing, of just drawing some of this stuff out. But yeah, let's just go ahead and do the demo here. And like, it's nice that we can kind of have the demo side by side with the code. So let's kind of click into this here. Make sure it's going to actually get my mic, because I was having some trouble with that earlier. All right.
Oh, is it talking? I don't know if we can hear it.
Oh, make sure I'm sharing the. Oh, because I'm sharing the window. Let me share the tab, and that'll like solve that. So let me fix that. One
Okay,
second.
cool. I wonder if the app, like what protocols the app we're using to stream, to live stream. Is it WebRTC and like another WebRTC connection happening at the same time?
It is, yeah. Turtled all the way down, man. So, all right. Let's window managed here. Font bigger again. All right, and get the.
Good call. Spider-Man meme. WebRTC.
All right, now I think we're looking good.
All right.
How do I get this side by side again?
Are you logged in?
Yeah, so like this is on my other Chrome profile.
Oh,
I'm not logged in here, but should be okay. I should be able to run it, or
yeah. You can't. You can like we can do the demo. Yes, you can't put it side by side. That's a
okay.
limitation.
All right, let's see if this works here though. Like, let me know if you can hear. Give me the thumbs up.
Hello, and thank you for trying the new OpenAI Realtime API. Here's a quick summary. It's now generally available, no longer in beta. We've added two new
Hey,
voices,
chat.
Cedar and Marin, improved instruction following, enhanced voice naturalness, higher audio quality, better handling of things like phone numbers, support for the prompts API.
You get the idea. I'll sort of explain. So where does that all come from? And that's what we talk about at the prompt. We have this set of things that we give to the Realtime API to say, here's how we want the agent to conduct itself. And so we specify these constants in a session object that we mint right here. And so you specify, what type of session you want. The default's real time. We can also do the live transcription. You specify what model. In this case, it'll always be GPT real time. We have right here, and then we have the set of instructions that we give to basically say, here's like what the agent should know, and like the instructions it should follow when it goes and gives its responses.
Cool.
The other thing the one thing to point out is like the new structure for the GA interface. Previously, some of these things like noise reduction, voice were all done, I guess, top level keys. Now they're kind of nested under this audio structure here. So just one thing, if you're using the GA interface, you'll want to have this set up, the way I've got it here.
Good to know.
So yeah, these instructions could be a bunch of things. And the other thing I'll mention is that coming back to the observer, we'll get back into the details of exactly how we set up the connection, but there's also how we want to have the application server interface with the API while the connection is going. And so we provide this information of like the prompt and the model, this sort of stuff in the initial post to the API to initiate a real-time session. But then during the actual, the call, we can establish a WebSocket connection from the application server to the OpenAI API and basically use that to receive information about, the user speaking, the user said this, the model speaking, the model said this, but also trigger responses. And one particular thing that occurs in this demo here is that, I'll go to the observer code. When we actually set up the connection here, that we set up this WebSocket to the server to monitor the events, once that WebSocket opens up, we send a call to basically create a new response, and that's what actually leads to the model initiating the pardon?
That's why it talks first.
Yes, exactly. Otherwise, you just have it sitting there, and people wouldn't know what to do and everything. And so,
can we comment that line out and save it and
yeah. So I'll just do that on my account that has the permissions. So let me switch to that tab. Again, I could have probably thought this through better. But, yeah, so let me comment that out.
Then it'll just be silent until you talk, and then it'll.
Yeah, exactly. And so,
or like alternatively, we can set this timeout to be longer, and then it'll like wait 2 seconds.
Yeah. It turns out that timeout was set just because we ran it. Like a lot of stuff was done very last minute, and like there was a bug that we still haven't fixed yet, where we can actually get audio clipping if it starts too soon.
And then just like relatedly, so I can understand the shape of what we can do, could we send like 5 seconds in or 5 minutes in, whatever, we could send a message like, now talk about cats, or like just something random.
Exactly. You could change. I mean, you could change out the prompt. You could add a new conversation message. Like there's a lot of things that you could do, and so you really have full control. With this website interface, and like other things, like for example, that people like to do is like if they set up tools, so like hey, even one tool that like people like is just the ability for the agent to end the call, and so you can basically say, oh, hey. If it sounds like the call is ending, these are saying goodbye, then invoke this tool called hang up. And so then you can call it as hang up. The model will know when to call the hang up tool, and that can then trigger the call to our hang up API. And especially if you're on a phone call, that can be really nice, because otherwise you're like, oh, goodbye. And then like the phone just starts sitting there, and like you have to hang up the call. And it's like, okay, that's not what people are used to. And so anyway, the fact you have this WebSocket control means that you have all this ability to shape the session and what's being discussed entirely within your application server. Previous examples, previous versions of the API provided these events about the session, but they sent it all over the WebRTC connection to the client.
Yes, and they had to forward them to the server.
Yeah, and then we heard of customers doing things that were like somewhat roundabout, of like taking the events that were sent to the client and then sending them to their server to run tools, and then sending them back to the client, and then send them back up to our API. And we're like, glad that people are using this stuff, but like there's got to be there's a better way, and like there's a lot of plumbing we had to go build for this, but like it's all working out. Anyway, so let me just do a quick demo of now with this thing commented out. And that won't be that exciting, just because it'll not really actually just sit there. But so now it doesn't talk.
Now will it talk now that it hears you?
I mean, yeah. I got my microphone set wrong in this browser, so I'm gonna go ahead and fiddle with that. Let's see if this works now. Hey, Chad, can you hear me?
Hi there. Thanks so much for trying out the new
I wonder
OpenAI
if it could hear
Realtime
me.
API.
Can it hear
It's
me?
now generally available,
No.
no longer in beta.
I
There are
see.
Hey,
two.
Chad, that's great. That's great. That's great. I'm on a live stream right now with the Valtown CEO Steve Kraus. Do you want to say hi to Steve?
Sure. Hi, Steve. Great to have you here. And thank you both for trying out the new OpenAI Realtime API. Let me give you a quick rundown. It's now generally
Yeah. You kind of got a one-track mind here. Just for the benefit of our listeners, any like really salient aspects of this new API, maybe in a sentence or two, you'd like to summarize?
Sure. The new real-time API is out of beta, with improved instruction following, two new voices, enhanced voice naturalness, better audio quality, and even native telephony support. It's also much easier to integrate. Anything specific you'd like to dive into?
That was two sentences. That's good. Hey, can you just give me a brief rundown on how the WebRTC connections work with connecting to the real-time API? Make it just like two sentences or so.
Sure. With WebRTC, you can now connect to the real-time API without needing an ephemeral token, and you can control sessions directly from the server, including making tool calls. Plus, you can send video to the model, and it can respond based on what it sees.
Sick.
Yeah, you nailed it. All right, I'll talk to you later.
That's awesome. It's magic.
I mean, there's a lot of things like that that all come together in this release, like just like the additional naturalness and everything. The model, it just like it is really nice, and like it's much more steerable. It follows instructions better. Like it does tool calls better. Like all these things, like we've had some of these capabilities of like real-time API came out last October, for some time, but like they're just now getting to the maturity where it's very easy to build these production quality applications.
Yeah, that's awesome. Can we send some more stuff in the observer or like react to stuff? I feel like that would be fun for me, unless you want to go take it in a different direction.
I think that's a great idea because then we can actually be like mutating this in real time. So what I'll do is I'll do a quick overview of just the RTC setup stuff, and then
Okay.
we'll get into some of fiddling with some of these parameters. So coming back to where are we here? Okay, so this is the RTCS. So what's going to happen is that we'll serve the endpoint from the root. When you hit that start button, like I just did, the application will make a HTTP post to this RTC endpoint. And so the payload for that RTC endpoint will be the WebRTC, what they call the SDP, like the actual session parameters. And so we'll get the request. We'll basically get the SDP that's coming in the post request and put that into a form data object. We use this form data so that you can basically send both the SDP and the JSON blob together to the real-time API. In the past, like you have to do a special you couldn't have them both together, and so you have an application like a MIME type of like SDP. Here we put them together into a form data. But what happens is we make our headers with the auth token, the API key. We make a form data. We set the SDP field to be the SDP that we got from the client. We set the session field to be this the make session thing that I showed you before, which has the instructions, the model. And then we sort of post that off to this new API endpoint. V1, like the previous one we talked about was V1 real-time. Now it's called V1/real-time/calls. The old endpoint still works, but the new one has support for the GA interface. And that's mostly it. We make that fetch, that post, and then we take what we get back. We've got some headers that we're going to pass on to the client that it uses for its debug printing, and then we extract the call ID, which comes back from the location header in the response. It'll come back. It'll be the sort of V1 real-time call/foo will be the call ID, and then we'll extract that and we'll use that to create the connection to the observer. And the way we, in Valtown, the way that we create the connection to the observer is basically we call it a new endpoint, and that asynchronously will go and like create that WebSocket long-lived connection. So if we go back to the demo page and the console output there. Why is this not doing?
Huh.
Looks like it's not happy. Looks like Chrome's not happy now for some reason. Anyway, well, I'll just keep talking here.
Can you refresh the page, maybe?
I'm trying to, but it's just kind of spinning on me. So
Huh. That's
I don't know
weird.
if there's some Cloudflare outage because our stream is still working. So like something else is.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Valentine's looking lively to me.
Okay. Okay.
I'm pressing the buttons, but anyways, I can share my screen. That could be. We could do that for a time.
Unexpected errors occurred. We're looking into it. Email Steve at Valtown if you want. Okay.
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe just refresh the page.
I'll try it.
Yeah, that looks like a.
Before I thought it was probably some other issue, but now like might be a Valtown thing.
The great time to have some downtime. Here, let me remove yours and.
No, it just got happy now. So
okay, great.
Yeah,
good to go.
So all right, I think we're in good shape now. So all right. So anyway, what was I going to do? I was going to go and demonstrate just the output that you get here is that you'll see that there's this, this is a call ID that comes back from the location header, which looks like this. And so that's the kind of thing you end up attaching to that observer API. Now, let me go just bring up the JavaScript code here for the application, like a bunch of CSS, CRUD, and everything. But the key sort of logic loop where we're going to make this post from the JavaScript to our RTC endpoint is all sort of laid out here. The first step in any sort of good WebRTC application is that you call get user media to get access to the audio video tracks. You create a peer connection object. You then set it up as a callback so that when you get the track to the on track event, you can connect that to your local audio tag. We then plug the tracks that we got from the get user media call into the peer connection. And we set up a data channel to get some, be able to handle local events as well. We create an offer. This creates the SDP blob that we then send off to the RTC endpoint as part of that post. So this
what
is
does SDP stand for?
Session Description Protocol. So this SDP is what is generated by this create offer. So typically, when you're using the WebRTC API, you'll do this dance of you'll create the peer connection. You'll call create offer to create the SDP blob. You'll call set local description to basically tell your peer connection about, hey, I want to use this actual SDP blob. I should start things up. And then you'll send that offer off to your server via this HTTP transaction, and you'll get something back. And the thing you get back, the answer naturally, is what you hand to the set remote description API on the peer connection. And so create offer, set local description, set remote description, and the connection will go and get running just from those calls. And so the way you, of course, you get the remote description is by doing this RPC to the RTC endpoint. You give it the local description, you get back the remote description. So that's pretty much the key logic there. So main thing is like we serve the application, HTML.js. When you hit the start button, we make, we set up the peer connection. We make the RPC to the RTC endpoint with our SDP. We then at the server in the RTC endpoint go off and send that to the actual real-time API and saying, hey, go create this connection. We then get information back from the OpenAI API that has like the SDP as well. That comes back through the client or back through our application server. We send it back to the client, and then the client's able to connect directly and securely to the real-time API over WebRTC. So that's the overall the big picture of how this stuff all works. And the key thing is that we're able to keep our API key entirely on the application server, because we only insert this API key when the application server is talking to the OpenAI API, and not the client never sees that at all. So that keeps everything secure.
Totally.
So
Makes
let's talk
sense.
about what we can make, some of the easy changes we could make. And so like one thing we could do is we could just kind of change the voice.
Let's do it.
And I'll change that, and maybe I'll change the prompt here. Maybe we can talk about, tell it to talk in a different style. Let me see what I can come up with here. So
Do you want to do it in a branch? If you don't want to mess with the like demo app, we could do it in a branch.
that's a good idea. So what's the easiest way to do that? So
if you go up to the top of this, there's a branch.
Yeah. So I just made a branch here, the
great
demo branch. And so, all right. So I'm going to do my editing on this other window.
It might be helpful to open the like Valtown full screen editor, which I don't know if you've found.
Oh, okay. I'm still somewhat new to Valtown here. So where's the best way?
In the right corner, there's like a button that says code, and you can click like full screen, I think. That might help. In the top right hand corner. Unfortunately I can't see it because I have this big VT in my screen.
Okay. So it's the upper right hand corner, you said?
There's a button that says code, and then like the blue button that says code.
Oh yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah, okay. Unfortunately, I'm not logged in. Let me log in here.
Cool. Here, I could take it off full screen while you log in.
Yeah. It's asking me.
In the meantime, if anyone has suggestions on things to tweak, I guess like the obvious things that come to my mind are the models, the voice model, like who's talking, the prompt, what messages we send like from the observer. That would be like fun. And then maybe receiving messages in the observer on the server. That would be cool too. Like maybe tool calls, that kind of thing. Yeah, I guess. Oh, sorry. I can add you back. Oh, this is. Oh, I see. Creating a new account.
Actually, that was weird. I thought that it would. Anyway, well, it's working now. We'll deal with that later. Oh no, because I'm logged in as it's my separate account. This is my personal versus my work profile.
I guess
so
you could just hit the remix button and then just paste in an open API key. That would be kind of cool to show people how quick it is to do a remix.
Yeah, okay, let's do that, and then we can do all the work then on the demo or the remix version rather than the core demo. Yeah, so let's do that, and then that'll basically solve all our problems.
Cool. Yeah. So this is a brand new This is a brand new Valtown account. Click remix. And really, there's only one thing you have to do to get it set up. We have to go get an OpenAI key, an OpenAI API key, and paste it in here. You have to click the pencil icon. Yeah.
Yeah, and this
it won't leak your key, but I'll take you off. Yeah. Anyway.
Yep. Okay.
Good. And then that's good. And now the app works. We can go do a demo.
Yeah, let's just make sure. Hey, chat, can you hear me?
Hello, and thank you for trying the new OpenAI.
Yeah, so we're all rocking and rolling here. So we got the remix. Actually, let me go back and fix the other thing. I'll uncomment the other line just so that people going to the main demo get the predictable experience.
Great.
Okay, so let us go and we can just dig in and start fiddling with things here. So for example, we can change the voice, and Peter's the other new voice that we just added. And let's say, what should we talk about? And maybe say, and talk to them like a enthusiastic software developer.
Can we like specify that they're from Russia or from China or from Canada? I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
Okay.
uh,
Nice. I think you misspelled accent, but besides that.
oh yeah, it was. All right.
And maybe
okay.
try the full screen thing.
Yeah, let's do that. Code. There we go.
Yeah.
Rock and roll. Okay. All right. So let's see how this is different when we actually go and run it.
Here.
Oops.
Yeah.
We're not getting the. Did I not change the observer here?
You didn't change it here. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right.
So if you click on sorry, do me a favor, click on main.tx and then like pin it to the sidebar. Pin
yeah.
Lower down there.
This one, yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah, that's even better. Okay. I don't have to do as much switching.
Hey there. Awesome to talk to you today. Super stoked to help out. What's on your mind?
Hey, I'm just trying to get some.
How's it going? I'm super pumped to chat. What can I do for you today?
Not sure what's going on there, but hey, just talking about some things.
Great to hear from you.
What is going on? Let me make sure I've got the right mic in use. Yeah, that's weird. I think I might have 2 copies or something. Maybe that's part of it. Make sure I don't have any other demos going here. All right, let's try this again.
Hey there. So awesome to talk with you today. What's on your mind?
Hey, can you tell me more about the Realtime API?
Absolutely. I'd love to dive into it. So the Realtime API is now generally available, no longer in beta, which is a huge deal. It's got improved instruction following, way more natural sounding voices, and higher audio quality. Plus, we've got 2 new voices, Cedar and Marin. Super cool, right?
And yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So like we're trying to figure out like what are some cool things to do in this demo? Do you have any ideas for what might be like a cool thing to show off with the Realtime API on this live stream?
Oh, absolutely. You could totally show off the improved instruction following by giving it some complex multi-step tasks and watching how smoothly it handles them.
E.g.?
Exactly. And another cool thing you could highlight is how the Realtime API handles alphanumerics super well now.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's do that. Yeah, I'm going to give you my phone number, and I want you to repeat it back to me, okay? All right. It's 425-555-1212.
Got it. So the number is 425-555-1212.
Nice.
Yes, you got it. Let me also just go rattle off this credit card number here too. And you can tell me if you got all the digits just right. Yeah, so I got myself a Visa card here. It's numbers 4737-0280-5844-9999.
All right, I've got that so far. 4737-0280-5844-9999. Let's double check. Did I get all those digits correct?
Yeah, you got the digits correct. And what's my phone number again?
Your phone number is 425-555-1212.
Okay. Let me also give you, this other sort of random number to remind yourself of. This one is 869-3557.
All right, I've got that number, 869-3557. Let me know if you want to do anything else with it or repeat it back.
Which of those numbers are prime?
Oh, that's a great question. But I'm really focused on helping with the Realtime API features right now, and prime number checks are a bit outside that scope. But hey, you've seen how it handled those numbers smoothly. Really shows off the improved alphanumeric handling, right?
You are a big fan of the Realtime API, I see. All right, thanks for your help here. Talk to you later.
For sure. So cool. This was awesome. Thanks for letting me join in. Catch you later and have an epic demo.
All right. So like one thing I feel like like obligated to talk about here is just it's hard to see because I mean, just make this a little smaller. The ability to stay on task.
Yeah.
This is something that any people are worried about. Customers are worried about. Oh, if I have my customer service support agent and someone says, "Can you write me a haiku? Can you tell me about the cause of the fall of the Roman Empire?" They don't want the agent like going and like expounding on their dollar, about random stuff. And so one thing that's explicitly you can do is basically saying if something is not in this topic, then just apologize and say you can't help with that. And the agent did it very nicely there. I was actually kind of curious if it would try to do the primes, because like that's actually a challenging task for like a model. But it was smart and bowed out. So
Nice. So cool. Yeah, it seems like you guys really listen to the problems people run into and fix them very specifically.
I mean, it's unbelievable. The numerics is actually a huge problem. That like some of the previous snapshots would miss digits,
Yeah.
and obviously very very frustrating if you're trying to talk to an AI agent and you try to tell your phone number and it's missing a digit. It's like no, there's a 6 in there. And it's like no, it still misses it. So anyway, a lot of specific work done around that.
Awesome. Should we? Okay, so I think there's a couple questions from chat, from the live stream chat, not the chat. So one question from Yi is how much latency the tool calls, MCP calls add, and how would you recommend masking that?
Yeah, so you can see that the latency in the responses is quite fast. Typically sub 500 milliseconds. When you actually get a tool call, that sort of puts the ball back in the applications court, where you're basically being told like, okay, go do something. And so then you have to do the tool processing and then call whatever internal function you have and return the results back. Again, if you have like all this stuff cached, where it's like just on local, sort of call to the val, it can be sub-second.
So does the voice agent stall for the tool call? Like, let me go check on that. Still checking. Give me a sec.
So you can there's two ways you can do it. You can do it through a synchronous call where basically you can basically tell it, oh, I'm going to go check on that for you. It'll then sort of block and wait for that tool call to progress. Or you can do an async call where basically the agent can generate some things of like you can direct it to say, I'm going to go check on that for you, or it can just basically keep talking of like, oh, I've sent off requests to check on that. I'll let you know when I hear back. And there may be some heavy lifts that require 10, 20 seconds or something. And like, then the question is when that does come back, what should you do? Because your application will basically get the async tool call coming back. And then you have two options of basically wait for the user to finish talking, at which point in time the information can be incorporated into the next response, or you can programmatically generate a response using this response create thing that we use to kick off the initial sort of interaction in this particular demo. And so that's something where it sort of depends on your application, like what might make more sense. You can imagine maybe more sophisticated things of the assistant trying to find the exact point to kind of break in to the conversation and start talking, or if it's already talking on a long monologue, being like oh, this just in, let me let me update my response instead. I think there's a lot of things where the actual state of the art is not sort of fully defined yet, and I think this is an interesting place to go experiment.
Cool. I feel like it'd be fun to try one now, like a simple one where we just return the weather as a static thing. Does that sound fun? Or
yeah. I think that would be fun. Let me see if I can live code this here. Let's see. Hopefully the AI assist here will help.
let's see.
I'm gonna need to refer.
The AI assist is a little stale. It doesn't know about your new API.
Right. Let me just get a tool call then from elsewhere. Give me a second and get that taken care of. There we go.
Nice.
Where did I put it? Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. So this is where I sort of shill for MCP and say, like, if you had MCP based, tool call, then I could just basically pop in a URL here, and it would just work.
Cool.
So why don't we can do this as like the hang-up tool first, and then we'll also do like a weather tool, and maybe we can do both of these.
Sick. Yeah, I think hang up tool first sounds great.
That one's a little bit easier, I think, because we can do both. The get weather one is a little more complicated because we have like the basically return the things to the paste the things back into the conversation. Let's see.
I can get you a weather function, like a real one, I guess.
Well, I'll stub it for to start, and then like if we
Cool.
get as far as like in the next 11 minutes to actually wire it up, then like
All right.
well,
Do you have to give the like open API schema for the inputs and outputs?
well, since we're just gonna stub it here, I think we'll be okay. I'll
Okay.
just basically stub it. Otherwise, yeah, we'd have to give like the schema stuff, and that would be a bunch. There's some additional work, and another reason why MCP is kind of nice. But I think that's the kind of thing people would get the idea. So we got that, and then we also have to in the observer then handle the tool call. And so let me just get that bus in here.
While you do that, I can respond to some jokesters in the chat. We got Charmaine laughing at something that we were messing up. Oh, Brad was laughing too. I guess we were doing some silly stuff. Let's see. Brad's making fun of me in one of my videos where I was talking through one of your demos. I called it telephony instead of telephony.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Classic. Brett has a great joke. Yeah, instruction following. Oh, cool. This is a good question from Brad. A library for generating JSON schema for tool calls. Great question. OpenAI actually has really good libraries for like using Zod for generating the JSON schema.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tool calls. That's normally what I recommend. Let me. Maybe I'll put a link in the chat too. I have a good demo of doing this recently. The hardest part of that, in my opinion, is getting all the right versions right. You want to get like the right version of Zod, the right version of OpenAI helpers, like getting everything version pinned is sometimes the trickiest part. But yeah, I normally do Zod and OpenAI if I'm doing tool calls for OpenAI. If you're making an API that needs to expose a good API schema, there's a good Hano Zod thing as well.
Yeah, I think increasingly like FCP will be the best approach for this because it'll sort of like be self-documenting, and then the people providing the tools then provide that schema rather than the people integrating the tools into their application. So those are great resources. They work great for right now, but as you can see, there's a fair amount of like just like cruft that's required, and hopefully in the future that won't all be needed.
That's really cool. That's exciting. Yeah, I wish we had more time to do this as a MCP demo. That'd be cool.
Yeah. So see if I can get the end call. I feel pretty confident about that.
Okay, cool. It looks like to narrate over what you've already done on message on the WebSocket message event, we're parsing JSON, and then if the type is response function call arguments done. Okay, then we have the arguments, we pass them into the function. Oh, nice. If the message is end call, then we can end the call. By making an API call to OpenAI to end the call. I see. So That makes sense. I thought maybe there was a way that we could send a message on the existing WebSocket connection we have to end the call, but it's a separate call, a separate API call.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I mean, you could do it from the client too. You could just like close the close up your connection, but this basically shows the full path here.
I see. Great.
I think that should be sufficient. All right, well, let's go try it out. Probably some logging here too.
Nice.
Did I do wrong? Oh shit! I forgot that where I.
Yeah, I wrote all this stuff. Cool.
All right, here we go.
Hey there. Awesome to connect with you. How's it going? I'm super stoked to chat today. We've got some really cool stuff going on with the Realtime API.
Hey, chat. That's great, but actually, I'm in a hurry. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye. Okay.
No problem. I'll let you go now. Take care and talk to you later.
All right. Let me see my logs. What actually happened here? Where are them? I think that might have worked.
I guess in the observer, it would be.
Yeah. All right. So one thing is like you can see all the different messages that are exchanged with the real-time API here. But let's see, do we get a actual function call?
Maybe it just didn't use the tool.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like it did. I wonder, and it probably means I configured it wrong or something.
Yeah.
This is the hashes of live demos. All right, let's see. Let's give that a shot. So blah 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 blah. I got tools. It all seems right. Let's see. Also, a lot of times it's useful in the prompt.
Can you ask it what tools it knows about as a debugging mechanism?
That's an interesting question. Probably I can.
Hey there.
Oh, I see the problem. I never saved the file. Or I never saved this file.
Okay, that'll do it.
Yeah.
Hey there. Awesome to connect with you. What's going on today?
Hey, can you tell me about what tools you know about?
Totally. I'd love to tell you all about what's new. So the Realtime API is now generally available, which is super exciting.
Hear about that.
Totally.
I want you to tell me about what tools were configured in your session prompt.
Totally. I'd love to break it down for you. So right now, I've got access to some super useful tools in this session. One of them is the ability to get the weather. So if you ever need a weather update, I've got you covered. And another one I can use is the function to end the call when you're ready to say goodbye. Anything else you're curious about or want to dive into?
Can you invoke the end call tool for me right now? So that might have worked.
Hey, just letting you know, I tried to invoke the end call tool for you, but it looks like we're still connected. Maybe there was a
Okay, interesting, interesting.
If you go to the raw log, oh yeah, this works great too. Huh.
Yeah, I found there are a lot of events. Is there another way to search in here, or is this the Control F the best way?
I guess, yeah, just a regular Control F should work.
Hmm. Well,
It's not showing up on a Control F for any function.
yeah, I don't see any function stuff occurring here.
Hmm.
And notice about the tools, obviously. So not exactly sure what's wrong.
Live demos.
Yeah.
Thanks for trying.
Let me
I
just
guess.
go one thing. I'll just put some stuff just in the well, we're almost at time, but I'll go put some stuff in the JS application so we can see like, if it's invoking a tool and get the messages there. I
Sure.
think that's the kind of thing I'd want to be able to do next. You just see you know what occurred there.
Oh, okay, that'd be cool.
And anyway, yeah.
Do you have to run? I can keep going if you have time, but if you have to run, totally understandable.
Yeah, I can hang out for a little bit. I'd love to get this working now. I'm gonna just sort of like, what's going on here?
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, see if we can at least get the end call tool working. I'm gonna just put some debugging stuff into the chat, and that'll just make it a little easier to understand what's going on.
Cool.
Um,
I think for us programmers who are trying to build with this stuff, like this is maybe the most valuable stuff to like watch how you would debug an issue.
yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah, that makes me feel better. All right, where's-
Hmm.
I think that should work. Okay, let me save. Why is it not working?
That's weird.
That probably the code is not executing for some reason.
Oh, maybe there's like a syntax error in the front.
Oh, wait, yeah, okay, yeah, exactly.
If you go to where you're editing the code, maybe I could figure it out with you.
Oh, I lost my code base. Yeah, okay.
Nice.
Hey there. Super stoked to meet you. What's on
Hey,
your mind
Chad.
today?
Can you call the end call tool?
Oh,
Oh, that's it. Yeah, did I actually do that? Yeah, that's not my best work. Let's try that again. Hey, Chad.
Hey there. How's it going? I'm super
Good.
stoked to chat with you today.
Can you
What's
call
on your mind?
Can you call the end call tool?
Awesome. Coffee's always a great topic.
What?
Are you looking for some tips on brewing? Or maybe exploring some new beans or roasts?
Hey, I want you to
Awesome.
to look at the
Coffee
tools.
is such a great topic.
Okay.
Are you looking to brew the perfect cup at home? Or maybe you're curious about different types of coffee beans or methods?
Hey, Chad,
Let me know what you're aiming for.
I want you to go and call the end call tool that's in your session prompt.
maybe refresh the page and just start again.
Something seemed weird there.
Yeah.
Hey
I
there.
wonder if
How's
you
it
just say
going?
goodbye.
I'm so stoked to chat with you today. What's on your mind?
Hey, chat, I'm in a hurry, so I'll talk to you later. Goodbye. Okay, there we go.
Nice. We got it.
So why didn't that work?
Oh, interesting. You're giving the call ID, so we don't even have to save it in the way you were saving it.
The call ID here will be the function call ID.
Oh, I see. Now it's
So that's
the session
yeah,
ID.
that's gonna be a little confusing. But yeah, everything seems like it's fine. The real question I have is like, did this show up on the observer too?
Hey, I totally get you. You want to know if what you're seeing is also showing up for the
Yeah.
I love the pair programming, but all right, let's go check that out.
Yeah, let's go to the observer file, and then I'm curious. Oh yeah, we could check out the logs. Maybe we should log less
Yeah.
things. Oh, cool. All these little transcripts are very cool. I didn't know it was sending like transcript events constantly to the server.
Yeah. So it'll give you its outputs. Yeah. You know what? I think it's not logging the full set is what's happening. I think there's some stuff getting chopped here because I everything like some of the other interactions that we had were not actually reflected.
Interesting. Okay.
So let's go back and do what you proposed, which is basically being all more parsimonious about our logging here. And let's see.
Yeah, I guess comment out line 30, or just do alt down on line 30.
Yeah, because that was the thing we saw on the client, right?
Yeah. Oh, I guess maybe you can copy and paste, or you could do what you did in the client, like you can match it more fuzzily or something.
Yeah, but that's fine because that is what we're looking for. That is what we got at the thing. So
Cool. Yeah, let's start it up. And then there's a logs button at the bottom of the screen that will like pull it up so you can see it. And then I would click on logs and then click on raw logs. I think that might just be easier to look at.
Is there a way to clear the history of logs?
No, unfortunately, it's more like it's like a server log thing.
Hey there. Awesome to be talking with you. How's it going?
Hey, chat. It's been great talking with you, but I got to run. Goodbye. Interesting. We got it at the client, but we didn't get it at the server for some reason.
Response.
So it sounds like there's a hiccup between the client and the server.
Yeah, that is funny. I do see it. Response, function call, arguments done.
Okay, well, this is probably outside the scope of what we're going to debug here in the live stream. So this is where I sort of say, hey, you know what? I hope this is useful for folks to get an overview of how the Realtime API worked. I think there's a lot more we can get into around tool calling, MCP tool calling, and maybe we'll do that as a follow-up. And then we can make sure we get this stuff. And I've done some sort of pre-work before jumping live on the stream. So.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I'm sure we'll get this fixed and like have a link that will include like on Twitter and on YouTube of like what the bug was. And I'm sure it'll be a 2-line fix as these things are. But yeah, anyways, thanks so much for joining. This was so fun. Congrats on the launch. It seems like an amazing thing you guys have built. So thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Great to be here. Talk to you later.
And